The At Your End Step podcast is brought to you by ComicTown. Check them out at www.comictown.net and search for ComicTown Gaming Center on Facebook. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Dave.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And we have another fun and exciting episode for you guys. I just got back from GenCon, and definitely want to talk about that. And Mike actually played in back-to-back events, which it's been months. It's been months since you've been able to do that.
It felt great.
So we obviously want to start the show with talking about that, and then cutting real deep into the Pro Tour. Obviously, that was the big thing that happened over the weekend, other than GenCon, I guess in parallel to GenCon. So we're going to talk a whole lot about that and then pretty much wrap everything up there at the end. So let's get started and talk about what Mike and I did over the weekend. So I traveled to GenCon. This was my fifth year attending. It was always great. Had a wonderful time. Did a lot of two-headed giant drafts, which is like one of the only places that you can really do two-headed giant drafts consistently, just because you need a lot of people. And if you don't have a lot of people, it's hard to get the fire. So did that with one of our friends that was also came over from Columbus, and won some and lost some, and walked around the vendor hall, tried to get some sweet deals on cards before they spiked to do the Pro Tour, and didn't really achieve that goal.
There were a couple that did that.
Yeah,
we'll say
could have bought Hanger Back Walkers Day 1 at $5 and didn't. Don't know why. Did not. But mistakes were made. It was unfortunate. Oof. Yeah, it sucked. I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to buy that card right now, and should have at least bought one. Would have had a playset now, but only have 3 currently. So, well.
I'll be happy to inform you that I bought a playset of Abbot of Carol Keeps for $3 a piece on Thursday.
That's awesome.
So
yeah. I already had one, and then I opened 2 just by playing over the weekend. So I have 3, and hopefully I'll just magically come across the last one. Fingers crossed.
I wouldn't mind binder. I'll gladly trade you for it at $20.
No, I'm good. I'm fine. I do not need any standard cards that badly currently. But Gen Con's always fun. If you haven't gone and you are reasonably close to Indy, go. It's seriously the only time that you can just wake up, play Magic, and then just actually play Magic for the next 72 hours. It's the only way.
I'll definitely consider it. I've never been.
It's so much fun. It's especially if you and a buddy just go, and that's all you do is 2 HD drafts or just 2 drafts, whatever. So much fun. I didn't even I brought Modern to play constructed Winnaboxes and stuff like that, but didn't even want to. Just really, it was really good because this format is fun to play. Origins is fun to play. The Mike's dog is wanting to be on the podcast.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, I had a really good time, and Indy's actually a really nice city around that time when they have it. So, and lots of great places to go and eat and be entertained by. So awesome, great weekend.
Did you run into any of the Magic personalities that were there? I know Adam Prozac was there, and I believe Gavin Verhey was there.
I did see Gavin a couple of times in passing. I didn't really see a whole lot because Tabak was there, and he's a giant. So I thought I would see him, but apparently
can't miss him.
I did. But you can go to Gen Con and know people that are there and never see them, and that's the best part about it. There's
it's the best or the worst depending on how you look at it.
Well, I mean, you can obviously just miss people. They just do different things. They have a whole I've just walked around one morning just because I had nothing to do. At that particular time, and I was just I've never actually been here, and there's just stuff going on. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it was a great time, and I can't wait to go back.
Did you see Gabby Sports by any chance?
No.
She was definitely. I was all over Twitter. She was definitely dressed as Link on Sunday.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm sure Morgan would have
so
swooning.
They did a celebrity event where they had all those people. So I saw them stand up and be like, oh, this person's here, and they had bounties on their head. They usually do the special sealed bounty.
Right.
So they did that, and I got to see all the people stand up for that because I was in the room when that was going on. But that's about it.
I believe Christine Sprankle was there too, doing her.
I thought she was at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, there was
no,
someone.
No, she was at Gen Con, I'm pretty
sure?
sure. Yeah.
There was a cosplayer that was at the Ultra Pro booth. I don't know if it was Sprankle or someone else, but there was someone there that did look that was cosplaying all the characters that
Was
she
Steve
does.
Argyle there at Gen Con?
Yes.
Then never
Yeah.
mind, she was at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Because she was talking about she had her Paulets signed.
Oh, nice. RK Post was there.
Of course he was.
Yeah, because I mean, why not?
Actually, RK Post was there and the Pro Tour. Still
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah,
Science will never explain it.
It's morphling, right?
Well done. You don't see this, but I'm giving Morgan the handshake right now.
Yeah,
It was well done.
Yep. All right. Well, enough with Gen Con. Go again. I encourage you to do so. I think I think more of us are going to try to go next year. So hopefully the whole crew might come along. That would be great. But Mike, tell us about your weekend.
So to continue mine and Morgan's most excellent weekend. Yeah, I get to play Magic a couple of days. I'm sad I didn't get to go to Gen Con because I have gone the last few years and I've gone many times and it's always really fun. But ended up sticking around here, played in regionals on Saturday, and played in the 1K Modern event on Sunday. So it was fun. It really was interesting. The regionals event, we had over 250 people. We played a 9-round tournament, and we had a lot of people from Indiana. And even Chicago, like Jeff Hoagland was there, and like a lot of grinders came out who were like, you know what, I'm looking for something that isn't run by pastimes. So something to be said to how awesome Gen Con is, it could actually be better.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag if you're getting rid. I'm gonna make a really long hashtag. How's that sound? Hashtag if you're getting rid of Legion events, also get rid of pastimes. How's that sound? Could we just throw that out there?
I mean, that's why like Gen Con always say do the on-demand events because they fire really easy
Yeah,
and they're the least amount of people you could have for an event.
You end up with like vintage players playing against like starter events. That was great.
Yeah, that's fine.
So anyway, so I played Jeskai at regionals and did pretty well. Started out 5-0 and then casually lost the next 2 rounds, which was unfortunate. But managed to salvage it and finish 7-2. I took 11th, and our buddy Keller, who's on the cast, took 9th. Now, don't feel too bad for him. It wasn't on breakers, so we pretty much knew what was going to happen. But he went 7-2 playing 5-color blue dragons, and that's a deck that I've been harassing a lot. But I tell you what, he played it. I still don't think the deck is good. I told him multiple times, like he had hands that I'm just like, how do you ever play a game of Magic? And then all of a sudden he won. I was like, what?
That's such a Keller deck too. It's
Oh, yeah.
just like
He does
some
nothing
off
for
the
so
wall.
long.
Yeah, it can't be too popular. You know, it's
So I did get to see him kill someone with a Dragon Lord Kolaghan. So it's happened in standard. So just so you know, but no, Jeskai was really good. I had a lot of fun. Like sort of, I've been testing the deck a lot, but learning interactions on the fly. I was telling these guys that Hushwing Griff was really really good on the weekend, and it was a metagame call because I wanted to be able to beat Absent Rally, but it inadvertently shut down a lot of creatures.
Yeah.
Like, on the day I shut down Night of the White Orchid, which was probably the most devastating one, I shut down, Eidolon of Blossoms. All right. I shut down Master of Waves, Harbinger of the Tides. I shut down a Hornet Queen and a Dragon Lord Atarka. That was probably the most, clutch one where it was just like, Atarka. And I'm like, no, Valorous Dance it. Get out of here. So, it was pretty cool. But pretty much everyone, it felt really good. All my sideboard cards did work. I got to play against Mono Blue Devotion and set up a game where I went down to 2 and then was able to untap, flip my Jace, and anger the gods with its Soulfire in play and go back up to 20 and then never be close to losing it again. It was fun. Oversized Command is disgusting. We joked about when it first got printed about people calling it the next coming of Crypto Command. I'm still not calling it that. I did, however, get to counter draw a ton this weekend, and even got to hard lock a player by having Soulfire Grandmaster activations. So it was counter your creature, draw a card, and then put it back on my hand. And his deck, was red green dragons and pretty much all creatures. So it was fun. So did pretty well there. Had a good day playing, and then woke up the next morning and went to the Modern IQ, which a lot of the grinders that had driven all the way into the state decided to stay overnight and showed up here. So we had a 44-person event, and they were trying to count the number of open trophies in the room.
It was many.
It was many. And then not just open trophies, open top 8s, invitational top 8s. When we got to the top 8 of this event, you had myself, you had Riley Kern, you had Jeff Hoagland, you had Dan Musser, and you had it was Jesse Hefner is the person I got to meet, who he had been in the finals of invitational, points leaderboard galore, and it was fun. And after all the dust had settled, was number 1.
He was the victor.
Ah.
Enthralling, almost.
At least one of us can win a modern tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I would expect it to be me. Let's just be honest. I don't know.
Wow.
So some cool things on the weekend. I did get to play Jeff twice. I played him once on Saturday to start the tournament, and I played him in the top 8 to end the day at Modern, and I'm 2-0 against him. And Jeff's a nice guy, but he gets a little salty when he loses. So if you saw tweets about a Jeskai player and then like losing that, those are both me.
So literally, his first and last round of the weekend was against you.
Yep.
He's never coming back to Columbus.
Yeah, I told him never come back here again. I was kidding.
So a lovely bookend for him.
And he was playing Kiki Cord in the top 8. I will be very honest. You know, I played Blue White Tron. I was going back and forth on it. I think I very easily could have fell like bad to the metagame, but I happen to know the Columbus metagame is really in love with Collected Company right now. They love that deck, and I get to play Collected Company twice and Kiki Cord twice, and 3 of those were in the top 8.
Well,
So the top 8 literally just like fell in my direction.
yeah, I'm pretty sure your deck's
What's that like?
fine against creature decks.
Yeah, I mean that's the idea. Like they both had combo elements, and I definitely lost a game to Collect the Company, and I lost a game to Kiki Cord. I lost a game to Jeff. It was a game where like he had his Sin Collector, took my Gifts Ungiven, and my hand was like Emrakul and a Snapcaster Mage, and then he comboed it off. So I mean his deck did what it was supposed to do, and I was sad. But like beyond that, like anytime I get pretty much any game I got to resolve a Wrath of God. It was over. You know, they're just not prepared for that, and the format isn't doing that. So it felt good to be doing that again, and to take it all down. Now, I will say before we move on to the Pro Tour stuff, there's interesting things that happen this weekend at these tournaments, and you may have encountered it yourself. And I don't think we're going to talk about it too much here today because I think we're waiting to get a better amount of information before we discuss it. But they're changing the philosophy on splits. So regional top 8s were not allowed to split on Saturday. The Legacy IQ on Saturday was not allowed to split prizes, and they had timed rounds.
In the top 8?
Yeah.
And we confirmed that.
What?
It was confirmed.
That
I know
was-
it was hubbub in our show chat.
Yeah,
but
it was confirmed.
Okay.
And then like we were not like sitting in the finals. We ended up just playing it, the traditional way, because we weren't able to discuss a split in a very comfortable way. And like even like our head judge was he was confused on it. He's like, I'm going based on this policy. I think that's what it is. It's sort of weird, but the MTR currently says that you can't split until the finals anyways, and now the philosophy is they want judges to uphold this. So be aware that if you are used to splitting prizes once you get into like the top 4, you may not be able to do that anymore.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to find anything on that, and I know that you were talking about it. Like that seems really weird that they would implement something like that and not have an announcement of some kind. Or
Yeah, and the judge that first, Brian Rapp is the judge that first brought it up to me. He was a local guy who I think is based in, he said, in Pittsburgh now. He sent me some information I was going to peruse, hadn't had a chance to, but none of this is an actual announcement, because according to them, it came down from Toby Elliott, L5.
Yeah.
According to them, this isn't a change. It's a change of philosophy, but the MTR clearly states you can't do it. So they don't feel like they need to announce it when it is technically the rule. I think it's shady as all get out. But
yeah, like I think when you make rules like no splits and things like that, you're just encouraging collusion, in my opinion.
oh yeah, very much
Like
so.
you're just like, yeah, we're not going to split, guys, right? Wink, wink. Like
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Like that's the reason why I think you allow splits in the first place, so that you don't get in those situations. So
Well, not just that. Like we were talking about how like sometimes like an event like regionals end up going 9 rounds, right? Depending on like what if you weren't expecting that many people and you started the tournament at 11 or noon, then you had a 9-round tournament and then you had a 3-round playoff, and you have to be out of the room by 11.
yeah,
You can't split to clean it up and be like, okay, you're not allowed to. Better go outside of these benches because we're playing a game of Magic.
yeah, like so I can understand it, like no splits when you have things like open series points and things like that, because you can't really split those, but like prize money and stuff like that.
But see, that's the whole point. Is if it can only be split if everything is splittable. And here's the joke: there's no tournament like that anymore. Like the only thing I can think of a tournament that would be like that would be something like a GPT, because the only thing that's different is the actual invite. Everything else can be split. But TCG player has points, you can't split. SCG has points, you can't split. GPs and pro they have pro points, you can't split. So how are you ever going to do it? So it's sort of interesting. So just something to consider. Like, and what's funny though is like they did this for regionals, but they didn't make an announcement beforehand. which I felt was really odd.
It's really awkward.
We literally couldn't adhere to the new play draw rule for 3 months until unless if it wasn't announced at the beginning of the tournament, we're not going to play by that. But we can change this. And the judge, Brian was saying to me, he's like, well, I mean, would that really have affected your playing today? And I'm like, that's not for the judge staff to decide. It's not, if it does or does not, it's up to the player, and that's why there should be an announcement. So look out for that. I think we're going to do some research, and then we'll do a bigger topic on it later once we have better information. But
for sure,
that definitely happened this weekend.
Yeah. All right. So that's our weekend. Let's go ahead and move into the Pro Tour coverage. So first on our docket, we wanted to talk about some organized play announcements. So we have PPTQ and RPTQ changes. The first on the list is the amount of time between beginning of PPTQ season and the PT it feeds into is being reduced. PPTQ rounds will begin between 12 and 14 weeks. Will be between 12 to 14 weeks. RPTQ the RPTQ will be 5 to 8 weeks after the feeders end. And the PT will be 6 to 9 weeks after the RPTQ.
6 to 9.
6 to 9, yes. Not 69 weeks.
Not a year and whatever.
Yeah. The next PPTQ season will run from August 22nd through November 22nd. Then there will be a break before the next season starts on January 23rd, which will be starts on January 23rd and runs through April 17th in order to adjust for these changes.
Right. So currently you have basically once a season ends, the next one is starting within a couple of weeks. So they're going to have a break there for a couple of months to kind of get everything caught up, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. So that'll be weird.
I mean, ostensibly that helps solve the issue I'm currently in, I suppose. Where if the seasons are then I won't be in dormancy for as long, I suppose. Right. Hanging out in limbo. But we'll see how this works. I'm glad they're at least addressing it, at least shifting to some changes. I also like the next thing where it says that RPTQs will be held on consecutive weekends in order to prevent conflicts with local GPs.
Oh, man.
Because it's almost like they forgot about that one.
Yeah. Oh, weird. Huh.
Yeah, that would have helped out if they had initially started with that, right? Because,
Yeah.
GP and D.
Now, the question I have with this, I guess the next point we have here is that they're actually going to be running MTGO regional PTQs as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to have two for each season. They're going to have two MTGO regional PTQs that people can play in. So if you live in a remote area that's it's going to be hours for you to travel to a regional, you can actually just sit at home and play MTGO. Now, they haven't released all the details for this yet. That's still have more details to come on that. But the question I have with that, and also the fact that they're running the live ones in 2 different weekends, can you just go to 2 different regionals if you want?
I'm assuming no, but I don't know how they're going to track this.
Right, yeah, that's they haven't actually released every specific detail, but that's the question I have. It's if you really want to qualify for the Pro Tour.
Well, not just that. I mean, if there are free events to go to, they give you a $200 promo to attend. I'm going to go to as many as they're going to let me go to.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to stop doing that though, or maybe have something a lesser giveaway or whatever.
I'm assuming the promo won't always be Liliana.
Well,
Veil,
yeah.
So.
But you would think they'd have something though similar to that, maybe a lot of Snapcaster mages or something next time.
Oh baby,
yeah, that'll get people to show up.
Yeah, I'm sure Liliana's enough for people to be there first.
Yeah, if the awesome PT locations weren't enough for
Yeah,
next
no
year,
joke.
then yeah.
Okay, 3 out of 4. Let's be honest. One of these things is not like the
factual.
other. One of these things is Georgia.
Yeah, we'll get to those.
Mike's opinions of Georgia do not reflect those of At Your End STEM.
Sorry, Georgia, or any state in the United States outside of Hawaii. You also do not get qualify for this list, so don't feel bad.
Mike's opinions of the continental United States are not the opinions held by At Your End STEM podcast at large.
I doubt it. So can we go to the next one? Because this next one's really exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, we have one more point here. So this is something that's easy to gloss over, but actually it would be super relevant for me right now. So starting with the next season that starts on August 22nd, the regional PTQ organizers will have the option to run an LCQ, a last chance qualifier, on the weekend of the RPTQ. So for someone like me who's not actually qualified yet, I could still show up and potentially try to get in, with a last chance qualifier. So that would be helpful. So that's something that they're going to start implementing next year.
I hate this.
And why?
Because the whole point of this, the whole structure of this, like system is that like you qualify here so you can qualify here. So making it like essentially equating like a PPTQ win with a winning 2 buys at a GP is really awesome for me. Hey, here's a legitimate system. Last chance blowout sales.
I don't think it's going to be like people are just going to skip their local PPTQs just to show up.
And I agree, but I don't. In principle, I'm not a huge fan of like the last chance things. Like, hey, everyone else who did a bunch of work for this, why did you come show up and see if you could just snag it too? Why not?
Yeah, but like it's not like you're guaranteed to get it.
I don't have to.
I'm just saying. I like it a lot.
I'm also not bitter with loss though, so
whatever, man. I'm over it. One last thing on that. So the details are to be determined by the RPTQ tournament organizer. So this is not going to be,
an always thing.
Well, it's not going to. Yeah. So I guess like depending on where you are, you might have different details on it.
Yeah.
The old like 2 a.m. last chance RPTQ qualifier for your locals only. That like only one person entered. I guess you're in the RPTQ now. Look at that. I don't know how that
Awkward. Anyway, so our next bullet point here is series style events run by independent organizers. So this is something like the Star City Games Open Series. So these events will now have 2x Planeswalker points.
So yeah,
for qualifiers.
Qualifiers will have 2x points, and the final events will be 4 times.
So I'm taking that as like your IQs will be 2x. Those are your qualifiers, and then your finals would be like an invitational.
Yeah, I think opens will be 2 times as well then.
Probably. Yeah.
So unless they were unless I'm crazy, there opens only one times right now.
I have no idea.
I'd have to check. There might be actually times 3. I don't remember. Anyways, so then because of this, though, they're going to be allowed to. So additionally, if a series is comprised of more than 20 qualifying events, we will consider awarding a Pro Tour invitation to the winner of the culminating event.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And Evan Irwin said today that the winners of Invitationals for Star City and the winner of the Players Championship receives Pro Tour invites now.
So that's the first time I think that's the first time ever that they are handing out Pro Tour invites for something that's not, Wizards, not a PTQ or GP or something like that. Now, it sounds really exciting on the surface, but when you think about it, like think about the players that are winning these
it's
things.
actually still harder than just doing it any other way. So
well, it's that, but it's like, Jacob Wilson won an invitational. Brad Nelson won the Players Championship last year. It's like these are players that are already.
We also don't have full details yet, like if these will pass down.
Yeah.
So. They don't, people are asking if they get flights for this. That's not been mentioned either.
Know, yeah.
So it also means awkwardly that TCG player will be getting ostensibly Pro Tour invites as well to culminate probably in their 50K.
But even that too. I mean, like a couple years ago, you had Josh McClain winning it.
I'm just
really?
saying that I feel bad that series gets a reward.
Yeah, I just think I think it's a nice gesture and it makes sense. I don't know how many extra slots they're going to be giving away for this, unless there is some kind of pass down, like you said. But.
Oh, so this is how we start our 20 event Tour of Columbus tournament series?
Yeah. The much talked about at your end step tournament series.
Yeah, your end step opens.
Yeah.
They'll be in my living room, and I can only fit like 6 people, so get here soon. But on the 21st event, we'll call it a championship, and someone's going to the Pro Tour.
It is important to note that full implementation of this restyled program will not occur until January of 2016. So it's still a little bit of time before it actually gets kicked into full gear.
Pretty exciting, though.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, though.
So the next thing that happened is that we got the 2016 GP changes and schedule. So the total number of GPs in 2016 is being reduced from 52 to 48. Wah, wah.
Yeah. Whatever. Not that much difference.
I mean, you don't know. There could have been one that was in the Midwest that's
There-
now not there anymore.
Like, if you didn't know there were 52 in 2015, would you have even known that?
Not at all.
Like, nobody would have even known.
Doesn't matter.
Dave, you're the one who put these notes together.
No,
Like,
I know. I know it because I actually looked it up.
Like, this is not even worthwhile information, but I took the time to type it out and have Morgan read it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm saying like if I didn't do the research, nobody would have known the.
That's
wiser.
probably true. You have a point there. So the breakdown of the formats is 5 team GPs, 11 limited GPs, 20 standard GPs, 9 modern GPs, and then 3 legacy GPs.
Sure, all the same weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the GPs run on the same. The GPs run on the same weekend will all be the same formats. So that's interesting. So
Yeah.
no diversity. You can't switch from a limited GP to a modern one in the same weekend.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think this also saves them from the people who get upset, like, oh, I see, so this limited tournament was in North America, but this constructed tournament was in Europe, you didn't want to send a travel team over there, so we're getting, it's like, oh, well, now there's no issue where the travel
Yeah.
team is. You're all watching the same format, who cares?
Yeah, I think it's fine for sure. A ghost just tried to enter into Mike's apartment.
No, but it's actually my dog.
Was it a host?
He pushes on the door when it's time to come back in.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. It's a nice system you have worked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so prize payout is also being updated. So up to 2,999 players will be, and this is total prizes to be distributed. So it's $50,000. Yeah. And then 3,000 players plus will be $75,000, which is an increase, correct?
Yeah, so under the current system, if you have anywhere from 1,200 to 2,399 players, the payout comes out to 41,400.
Interesting.
I did the math.
I'm good.
Because why would that be on their website anywhere?
No.
We don't know why.
Well, it was. You just had to add it up.
Yeah.
yeah,
Easy.
exactly. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then they're also going to be making it. They haven't done all the details on this yet, but they're going to be making it more top heavy.
Gotcha.
So
The rich get richer?
the rich get richer, apparently. But I'm fine with that. I mean, the way the GPs are now, it almost like it. To me, like if you're not a pro chasing pro points and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really feel feel worth it for me to travel more than a drivable distance. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to fly to, I don't know, GP. Where is it this weekend? San Diego.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's
not
the
gonna
one
go
where
to
you
San
get the
Diego.
cool, you get the cool flip. I'm really sorry again for my dog. This entire one, like, he was thirsty. All right, I don't know what to tell
No,
you.
that was the ghost. actually.
Yeah.
Casper's dog.
So the other thing too, I saw here. So they're making it more top heavy for payout, but they're also going to change the cut.
Oh yeah.
So now, if you go 6-3, you'll be qualified for day 2.
How many day twos would you have made that record, Mike?
I would only have missed one time.
No, I actually like that a lot. So a lot of people were kind of negative on that change. They're like, oh yeah, I don't like that change at all. 6-3, like you can't even win the tournament. Like, well, that's actually false. It really kind of depends on how many people there are. But I mean, if you feel like you don't have a chance to win, or you don't want to come back and get free drafts on a limited GP or
Yeah,
whatever,
for
like
sure.
a day 2, you don't have to come back.
No one's
Nobody's
saying you
forcing
have
you to
to.
play day 2. I like it a lot. I feel like 7-2, especially if you're somebody that has no buys or like one buy, that's actually like pretty tough. So I think I like all of these changes.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm glad that the foil Tarmogoyf did its job and decided to allow Wizards to adjust prize payouts.
A little bit. But the attendance at these GPs has been just out of control.
Through the roof.
Yeah. So it's nice that they're giving a little bit back. Now they are scaling back, like you said. They have 4 less GPs, so I don't know how much money they're saving on that, but I would imagine.
Well, I mean, with GP costs to enter increasing anyway, I mean, I don't know.
So some people have argued that this will actually cause GP costs to rise more.
Oh, good.
Because people like, well, now there's gonna be less people playing side events. So like, I'm sorry, like I still think it's ridiculous the amount of money you expect when you have that many people paying entry costs. Anyways,
Do you know how much the entry fee is to San Diego this weekend?
It's $60.
$60.
Yeah,
or
but-
or 70 if you didn't already pre-register.
Oh, cool.
For standard, so there's no limited product or anything.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Like,
But you get a flip playmat. It's
Oh.
Nisa,
Cool.
Nisa as a creature
cool.
and then Nisa as a planeswalker, so that's kind of
Oh, I thought it was Narset.
I said Nisa, didn't I? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Narset. I
But
know
both
what I
are
meant.
technically applicable at this
It's
point
true.
in time.
It's true. But the other interesting thing I think about the 6 and 3, I think which is cool, is if you have been to a giant GP recently, notice how dead the hall gets day 2. So like people who argue this, I think the counter argument to that is if it's guaranteed more people will be there day 2 because of more people day 2ing anyways, then you can technically charge more for vendors because you can guarantee there'll be more people there across the entire weekend. So it's sort of an interesting thought, just the same. I think it's cool. Like, let more people in. Yeah, a bunch of the pros were like, oh, so now I have to go 3-0 to day 2. And it's like, yeah, you really had to do a lot less work than, like, especially like Platinum pros, like, you had to do a lot less work than everyone anyways. Like, I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah.
And then the other change here that we kind of skipped over there was that all players who earn a PT invite through the Grand Prix will now be granted a travel award.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
currently, as it is, only the top 8 get the travel
So
award.
anybody at that X2 bracket.
Now this affects actually Riley. Riley Curran qualified through, I forget which GP what it was, but he went X and 2.
It was Charlotte. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So GP Charlotte, which was a huge GP, went X and 2, didn't top 8. Still qualified, but he has to pay his own way.
Right.
Now, luckily, it's in Milwaukee, so it's really not that bad.
No.
But I mean, what if that were, I don't know, Australia or something? Like,
You could hop on over.
yeah, I'm sure that's an easy plane ticket
Yeah.
to get. But yeah, that's pretty cool, and it makes sense, and it's just another good change. So now the full GP schedule is out.
PT
Is-
schedule. Oh, the GP
the
schedule
GP
is out.
schedule, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know for us in the Midwest, we do have GP Columbus next June, which is Legacy, which I know I'm not excited about.
No
But I know
one-
a lot of people around here would
No,
be.
no one in this podcast is really
That's not
excited
true. I'm
about.
excited. Local GPs are awesome. Don't do that. Be excited.
I guess. I just know I won't be participating in it. Which,
Why? You have a year now to Rocky Legacy if you want to.
Do I want to?
Who cares? Then
I'm
play-
already
play-
terrible in plenty of
They'll play
formats.
side events and stuff. Don't act like it's not a big deal. at the
No,
beginning
I
of
won't.
GP.
I won't do the GP. You're right. No, I won't do that. But I will do side events. I will be there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna poo-poo on people for this. Like,
No.
it's not my format. But by all means,
Yeah.
be excited.
Yeah,
this is a really cool thing.
And to be fair, we have like here in Columbus, we do have a vocal legacy community, and even in looking out into the Midwest, there are a lot of legacy players. We consistently get good legacy numbers when they do have Star City game events. So it's not surprising for them to put one here.
And we had a Legacy GP in 2010, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of
That was
I believe that
GP Flash, right?
that was a GP. That was the GP that Survival of the Fittest was still
Oh, is
legal.
it Survival Phase? I don't
And
know.
that was Caleb Durward, I believe that was his first big finish. He
Yeah.
top aided with the Vengevine, Survival of the Fittest,
Nice.
shenanigans, and Tomoharu Saito won that one, I believe. Had Brad Nelson also in the top 8. It was like pretty crazy, pretty good.
It's cool.
tournament.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to ramp up for it. So we know what's coming. We're the premier podcast here in Columbus, Ohio. So let's get prepped for it, and we'll be out there in force.
Right.
Maybe get some of those nifty media badges that they always have.
Can we just hire a guy to like carry a giant Astro Ensip sign? He has to spin it around and do cool dance moves.
Oh
with?
man, that'd be
It's
great.
like an arrow. Yeah.
do.
Nice.
There might be a room in the budget for that.
Yeah. We also have so a format that I would be more excited to play would be Modern, and we get GP Detroit, which is Modern next year, and
And
also
Indy.
GP Indianapolis, which is Modern. So that's sweet. Pretty excited about that. We also have this year we have GP Pittsburgh. I believe there's a GP Pittsburgh next year as well, which is standard or
I believe
sealed?
standard.
I don't know, but these are all drivable. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, it's good. Columbus is a good place to be. You usually have at least 4 GPs you can attend a year, which is a pretty good rate in all honesty. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the Pro Tour schedule, which actually got announced as well. So we have Pro Tour 1. which is February 5th through the 7th in, Atlanta, Georgia, as Mike has pointed out already.
Hashtag Hotlanta.
April 22nd through the 24th is PT number 2, which is Madrid, Spain. This is the good one. August 5th through 7th, PT number 3, which is Sydney, Australia. And then October 14th through the 16th, which is going to be in Honolulu, Hawaii. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Yeah, it seems really odd that they would have Atlanta because they just had it last year, right?
Was it Atlanta? There
Atlanta
last
was
year?
last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand like them going around to different states, but Atlanta doesn't make any sense to me on this list. So, but again, I think any like city state combination outside of like Honolulu, Hawaii, compared to Madrid and Sydney, was not going to be impressive.
Yeah.
This is the only thing I could think of. I think overall, Madrid, Sydney, Honolulu, those are all awesome. And like, I would love to go to any one of those. Hell, I'd love to go to Atlanta. I don't care if I'm playing on the Pro Tour, whatever. But
Atlanta.
It really feels like to me that like, okay, they had these 3 really nice ones. It's like, we gotta like offset the cost a little bit. It's like we gotta keep it semi-local, and that's fine. I'm sure that there's parts of Atlanta that are nice. I'm sure, but I've only been there once. Wasn't a good experience.
Are you gonna give the little thing for him?
The what?
He just said that parts of Atlanta aren't very good. I mean, are you gonna give him a little
I
spiel?
said I'm sure there are parts that are very nice.
You're going to give a PSA about me talking about Atlanta, but you're not going to give Dave.
Dave's
PSA.
opinions of Atlanta do not reflect those of At Your End Step.
Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, mine, yes. So at this point, you're just saying they don't reflect your opinion. But
Correct.
No, I'll be completely honest with you. I am super excited about the prospect of qualifying for the Australia.
no, that
Pro
sounds
Tour.
unreal. Like
Like,
that's okay. June Columbus Legacy, awesome. Do your Rocky training. I'm going to do Rocky training for Sydney, Australia.
yeah, that's going to be the real prize there. Like, I've been around the world playing in Pro Tours, not to be braggadocious or anything like that, but Australia is like the one place that I would like love to go to. So that's
It'd be pretty sweet.
that's going to be nice.
We also have 2016 World Championships being held at PAX Prime in Seattle, which is pretty awesome. And then 2016 World Magic Cup being held in Rotterdam, Netherlands, on November 18th through the 20th.
And here you see like the full separation of these two events. Like,
Yeah.
Like they said, this is the change they're going to be making. And they've taken those steps. And here you see like we already definitely have dates for the Magic World Cup, and like PAX Prime hasn't set their dates yet, and they'll figure that out. So I think that's definitely interesting that like okay, these are distinctly different. So
Awesome.
I'm actually kind of interested in attending PAX Prime next year, so maybe we'll.
I'm tentatively interested in attending a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to go to.
Yeah, we're all nerds. There's so many things that appeal to us this day and age. It's an amazing time for our culture. Moving on, we do have the Hall of Fame electees. So Eric Froelich, Efro, made it in. Congratulations, he was a slam dunk. We also have Shota Yasoka making it in, and then Willie Idol did it. He made it.
Woo! He did it.
Yay! And they are all elected to the Hall of Fame, and they will be inducted during a PT Battle for Zendikar. So, awesome. Congratulations, gentlemen. If any of you listen to this podcast, I'm sure you know. But congratulations nonetheless.
Especially Yasuoka. We know he's listening.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that he was like, and that's like kind of the order. And so
Yeah,
Eric Froelich was
second
like,
highest
he
votes.
was, yeah. Shota Yasuoka had the second highest, which was a little surprising to me, but I like to think that my vote helps, since those are the exact 3 guys that I voted for. So,
Nice.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter complaining about like it was really weird. Like what sort of Pro Tour elects people with only 40%? What's this and this? And I'm like, why are you having this conversation like you're surprised about like the methods? Like I don't understand. Like
yeah, this is how it's been since they started.
and if you really want to go and examine how like Hall of Fame elections happen, be happy the way this one does. Like we could just have a committee of like older players who get to decide on the people who pass their prime. Hashtag baseball, you know what I mean? Like, or we could have only certain writers, once again going to baseball, who are vindictive and angry about certain players, and make sure that those players can't get in, even if they don't have any proof about them. Rest in peace, Jeff Bagwell. At least your chances of getting the Hall of Fame. I'm getting a little personal here. I'm sorry, but you could be negative about any.
He didn't play on the Indians.
Yeah, he was a good player, man.
I understand.
Nintendo 64, Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, Home Run Derby mode is the most fun baseball game ever played. Jeff
Yeah.
Bagwell is the man.
Oh, sweet. What about Craig Biggio? Was he any good? 'Cause he got
Not,
into the Hall of
not
Fame.
in Home Run Derby.
Oh,
But the guy could get hits.
he can steal bases,
You go out to steal bases.
play catcher and first base and
Welcome to
shortstop.
welcome
Whatever.
to at your first base.
Yeah.
So, but it just
At your
seems odd.
bullpen.
Like you know what? Even if you disagree with Willie Idol getting in, like the man's numbers are more impressive than 90% of the people complaining they'll ever have a chance to obtain. And like you don't like even I, who is a proponent for him, do not know all of the things he's actually done for the players around him. So I think it's well earned, and I don't know, take the salt somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least give the man that. He had a bad weekend otherwise. So
Yeah,
at
good
least he got
lord.
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
elect.
he certainly didn't like help those arguments by any stretch. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a bit rough. So let's talk about some of these storylines that culminated here at the PT. So we had some undefeated players for day one, which are Kentaro Yamamoto and Richard Hohen. I believe I'm saying that right.
Hone, yeah.
They both had 8-0 starts for day one, which is pretty awesome. Now, Sam Black and Li Shutian were actually chasing Ifro for the Player of the Year title after Ifro started 0-3, which is crazy.
Yeah, Sam Black was 7-1 after day one. He was on fire. Alicia Tian, I believe, was X2, so they were in pretty good shape.
Oh, I thought for sure that I was like running away with the fantasy draft. I was like, man, look at Sam Black crushing. Ifro started out terrible, like barely squeaks into day two. Like Seacrest's doing fine, but I mean, what? Oh no, I got crushed. I got smoked.
Now, multiple teams, so Team Ultra Pro, Team, how do you...
Tomo.
Tomo?
That's like a Yo Larson's
Oh,
team.
okay.
Yeah.
Tomo and P9 chose Mono Red as their weapon and showed up a lot on camera.
Oh yeah, it was like there were a lot of rounds where it was like mono red mirrors.
Oh,
or
oh boy.
mono red.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was everywhere. It actually wasn't the most played deck, but it felt that way the way that the camera matches were going.
Sure.
Yeah, it wasn't just one list. I know that there were a little bit of variations.
Sure.
There were a lot of similarities though in the different lists. I know some of the Japanese players also played. I know Li Shitian and Tomohiro Saito also played kind of their own list of mono red as well.
Yeah,
So-
were they a little bit bigger red?
yeah, they were playing Flame Wake Phoenix and like Thunderbreak regions, which was interesting.
Oh,
I thought it was a good call.
I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah, no, like I thought it was a good call given how many mono red decks there were, and I feel
Right.
like those cards are pretty good for the mirror.
So, like we said, Ifro had a pretty rough start. He squeaks in the day two at 4-4, but doesn't lose again, and it finishes 11-4-1.
Yeah, it was.
It's just like he apparently like went to bed, shed his skin, awoke a new being, and just
Snake?
crushed.
I don't understand.
And just crushed. Well, more like a butterfly and a
They don't
chrysalis.
shed their skin.
Well, yeah, I know. I went with the wrong metaphor. Maybe he's a snake. I don't know.
I'm cool with him being like Cobra Commander. That'd be insane. I'm like,
Anyway, he did really good day two. Though we do have some bad beats for Christian Calcano and Willie Idol. Both finished one single pro point shy of platinum status.
hey, maybe we
which
should have a
is-
last chance pro point qualifier. How does that sound?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
So
Doesn't
do
it
it.
sound ridiculous when you put it in that context? Anyways,
I got to add to that too. I didn't put it in the notes, but I gotta give condolences to Brian Gottlieb, who was near the top of the standings the entire time. He was king of the hill for a while. He was the first guy to actually beat Yamamoto. Yamamoto was like 10-0 before he finally lost, and Brian Gottlieb was right there, and he was 11-2 going into round 13.
so like you could have gone like
We're
12-2-2 or something like that. Like more than likely.
Yeah. He was 11-2. Yeah, going into round 14. He just needed one more win to lock his top 8, and he lost all 3 rounds in brutal fashion. Like he, one of the rounds, he's like, I believe it was game 3, and he like mulliganed into a 1-lander and then never drew a land, and then he got next round he got top decked in Soul Artifact for the win with his opponent, and then the next round he played against Mike Segrist playing for top 8, and yeah, got crushed in that one too. So it was tough to watch.
Yeah, that sounds rough. So speaking of Segrist, he was the last man in the top 8 on Breakers. So funny, like you said he top 8'd, but then I looked at like the top 8 photo. He's not there. There's just 7 people. And
Is that true? That's unreal.
Yes, when I looked at when you had said that in the show chat, I looked at the Pro Tour coverage and it had the 7 of the 8 people in top 8. And I feel like they're just gonna like Photoshop Kristen later. But that's what I saw. I was like, I don't see him there. I was like, Dave's wrong. I gotta go tell Dave that he's wrong. But then I counted before I did. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Do whatever you want.
You gotta look
coverage.
between the legs to the eyes, man.
Oh, apparently. And then by doing that, he passes Efro as Player of the Year and U.S. National Champ, making it to the finals. So that's pretty awesome, really.
That's incredible. Like, I was talking to a buddy of mine from Massachusetts today, and we both known Mike for a long time. It was just like we were both kind of like, it's really weird that we personally know somebody that won Player of the Year. Like, it's just really odd. It's like
the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and you're just like, oh
yeah,
man,
apparently
I'm just 1 degree away.
Yeah, I was rooting for him about as hard as you could root for somebody, and it was pretty awesome to watch. So
yeah, we know you New Englanders like to root for a lot of things, no matter what.
We stick together
pretty hard.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his hand was a little underinflated in Game 5.
I wasn't going to say anything. But...
Oh, I stand by that. I feel bad for him, but I stand by that joke.
That was a terrible joke.
It was a terrible decision. Take that one with you.
Moving on.
Sure.
But Sigurd did a final, but the eventual winner was Joel Larsson, Swedish Kibler. And he wins with Mono Red. Mono Red, back to back. Red's the best color in Magic. I don't know what you guys talk about with all those blue shenanigans.
Same team, too. I guess him and Martin Dang was...
Dang.
They're on the same team, so they just...
He must have given all of his red mana over to Larson to take the last round.
Say Exquisite Firecraft is still the best, like the most aptly named card.
So exquisite.
Ooh, ow, head,
pain.
Now, it was, honestly, I think that's the real way to look at the format. We had talked last week, and we're gonna get into these decks here, but like, we talked last week about how the format was like slower. You had Devotion, you had Abzan Control, you saw Rally trying to work on a different access, and everyone sort of correctly identified that and said, all right, I'm just going to race it out. I mean, watching the last round of the tournament, before top 8 with Mike Siegrist, like he goes to game 3 and just turn 4's his opponent. It was a Gottlieb, right?
Yeah.
Like just turn 4's
That's
him.
what I was saying. It was brutal.
He's like turn 2 in Solar Artifact, and like turn 3 equip Ghostfire Blade, and then have the Shrapnel Blast up. Like,
oh yeah,
dear Lord.
Yeah, Shrapnel Blast is a hell of a card. If you've never played that, either back in the day playing Affinity, yeah,
give it a shot.
It'll get you dead.
And then you have all these red decks too. I mean, I think the biggest tell had to have been Sam Black, and their team. Like Sam Black is playing mono red, right? That's everyone kept saying. And I'm like, well, he's played aggressive decks. He played like Aristocrat, but again, that was more of like a synergy deck, like than an aggro deck, right? Like like for him to just decide that the best thing to do in the format is to attack with 1/1 red guys. That's probably the best thing to do in the format.
This deck has synergy. It has prowess guys and spells.
Very
That you
synergistic.
play.
It has mountains and burn spells. Synergy.
Yep. I can see it. It's perfect.
So
Exquisite.
do you want to do this top 8 breakdown, Morgan?
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So we'll go through the names in the deck. So we have Joel Larsson playing mono red aggro, Mike Siegrist playing blue red and soul artifact, Paul Jackson playing green red devotion, Matthew Sperling playing Abzan control, Kentaro Yamamoto playing Abzan megamorph, Steven is it Steven or Stefan?
Which one?
Neil.
Neil.
So apparently it's Stephen Neal, but it's Stefan Barrios.
Yeah.
Even though their first name is spelled the same. I don't know.
Steven Neal playing mono red aggro. Patrick Cox playing mono red aggro. Stefan Barrios playing blue red and soul artifact. And that's it.
Yeah, so not a whole lot of diversity, though we do see, the blue red artifacts deck was something new that we saw this weekend.
Yeah. And that's been something that I know if you follow the Saito's card shop, if you follow like his English Twitter account, he usually says like the archetypes that have done well in his tournaments, and you keep seeing like blue red artifacts show up and be like, I just want to see a deck list of this. I don't know if this is what was doing well in his card shop's tournaments, but this could be the case, and it could have been around for a bit.
Yeah, and you're right. And it should be pointed out that this isn't even the only list. We saw like there was another team, like Ray Perez's team. He got a deck tech actually.
Hot Sauce Games.
Hot Sauce, it was playing a list like this. Now I think theirs was significantly worse. They were playing like Keeper the Lens in the main, but like, you could see them like trying to attack on that same axis. So like saying like are these decks in that tournament the same ones? Like archetype wise, they're probably close, but like all of these different like there's at least 3 or 4 of these lists, if you scour through the deck list that have some pretty random changes. Like you think like okay, they're both going to play in Soul Artifact and on something early in attack, but they chose a couple different creatures for it, and like some of them like were really heavy on Whirler Rogue, some of them ignored it. So, like it was interesting.
Yeah, I think the main difference that you see with the different versions is the face-to-face Channel Fireball list was really light on the red. It was pretty much just splashing for Shrapnel Blast, but otherwise it was a mono blue deck. Had a couple sideboard cards as well. But they went with the full 4 Whirler Rogues in 0 Pia and Karen Millar, whereas some of the other teams had a little bit more Pia in their deck. So, and I do think Whirler Rogue is probably the better card, just because being able to give something unblockable is actually very relevant, and Pia can be a little bit mana intensive.
Both 2 more cards to add to the Hushwing Griff list. I just wanted to throw it out there.
So yeah, I was gonna say earlier, I don't know how good Hushwing Griff is in the format now, considering like mono red is probably the best deck.
Yeah, the way the deck was,
Really
I mean, that's neither here nor there. Like it's easy to board out, but it's still fine.
Yeah. So do you want to go like through like maybe just a sample of the red list here? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we could take a look at Yoel's list, since it's probably the list that a lot of people are going to be looking at first.
Yeah. So Yoel Larson's winning list has 4 Abbot of Carol Keep, 4 Lightning Berserker, which is a little different than some of the other teams. 4 Monastery Swift Spear, 3 Zergo. His list had 3 Fire Drinker Satyr, which was not very popular with the other lists that were out there, and mostly because that card is pretty horrendous in the mirror match, and is probably not where you want to be going forward. He had said he expected to see more green decks, and it's a little bit better against Sylvan Caryatid and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense.
There were a number of horror stories on Twitter about like, I died to roast.
Yeah, you died to roast, or you died like Searing Bloods were everywhere. Like all the lists had 4 Searing Bloods. So yeah, you just get 5. Yeah, exactly. One thing he does not have main deck that were in a lot of the other ones were Eidolon of the Great Revel. Most of the other lists actually had the main deck Eidolon of the Great Revels, which were pretty awesome. And he even boarded them in the mirror, which was a little surprising to me. I haven't played red mirrors that much, but he just said basically it's like a searing, it's like a Searing Blood every time, because they just have to kill it and they just take 2. But the spell selection here, we have 4 Exquisite Firecraft, which was pretty standard across the board for all these lists. Mm-hmm. He actually had 1 Fiery Impulse. That one's pretty strange. 4 Lightning Strike, 4 Searing Blood, 4 Stoke Flame, 4 Wild Slash, which Searing Blood and Wild Slash were excellent when you think about most of the green lists playing Nissa. A lot of the blue lists are playing Jace. These are just, even in the matchups where they shouldn't be live, they're still fine.
I got a Jace Searing Blooded. It made me sad.
Yeah, hurts. And then the sideboard, it's pretty standard stuff. 4 roasts against the green decks. He had 3 Satyr Fire Dancer, which was another kind of weird one. I would imagine those would be pretty good against the green decks, probably.
For sure.
Chandra Pyromaster, 4 Eidolons, and 2 Arc Lightnings. So, like I said, the main difference that you saw in some of the other teams were the main deck Eidolons. And some of the other lists had Outpost Siege on the board for like the mirror matches and stuff.
A couple of them also had some Chandras in the main, which is a major difference.
Yeah.
Stephen Neal had 2 Chandras in the main. Fire of Kaladesh not. And I think, let me see what pack was.
I know Frank Karsten was playing 3 Chandras.
Yeah,
New
Pat
Chandra?
Cox didn't have any. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the other major difference, was either playing Chandra or not playing Chandra. So
Right. It's not playing Chandra is probably correct.
yeah, so somebody was writing about it today. It might have been I'm trying to remember who I was reading, but the argument was like none of these decks were playing Goblin Rival Master, and if Goblin Rival Master isn't good enough, then how is Chandra good enough? Because like if I think I'm trying to remember who this was. I feel bad. It's probably on Star City. I read it today, but essentially, if your plan is like, oh, if Chandra lives, it just kills them. doesn't Rabblemaster just do that faster? So and also helps you cast like Stoke. So I think that's probably a fair argument.
Yeah, I think so. So the main difference between these red decks and the ones that we have seen over the last couple of months, or even the one that won the last Pro Tour, is you see 0 Dragon Fodder, 0 Hordling Outbursts. Sam Black actually explained this the best because he had an interview after day one, and he said, so you have these red decks, and you can just get 2 awesome cards at Origin. So you get Abbot of Keep, which gives it a little bit of card advantage, and also is just a solid creature. Like you can attack often for 3 or 4 with this thing. And obviously Exquisite Firecraft, which if you look through all the top decks, you don't see too many control decks.
Yeah.
This thing can just finish the game pretty easily. They can't counter it. But it's not. These decks are not as susceptible to things like Scouring Sands and like all these cards that people would play against mono red. It's just like, oh, cool, like that's maybe a 1-for-1. That's fine. So it's a little bit more robust in the threats that it's playing. So
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like you could even play around like there's like, but like the winning list has 7 dash creatures. So like you could even play around, and honestly, Swift Spirit has haste as well. You can play around like Angers if you need to, and like you could definitely see where the old argument about red, where like, oh yeah, like it's an easy deck to play, but actually this deck has a ton of play to it, and Joel Larson did a great job, I thought, like navigating through the top 8, and like he said in the mirror, this is impressive. It was an impressive run.
yeah, his first match against Stephen Neal was actually pretty fun to watch. The Red Mirror. And Joel Larson got pretty lucky at game 1. He had to like rip a blocker and then a burn spell in like consecutive turns, and like did exactly that.
Well.
Yeah, it was.
You played your outs.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean like that's what you're supposed to do. I mean he played to it, but it was actually a lot of fun to watch.
Next up, let's look at Mike's list. This is blue-red artifacts, and Soul Artifact specifically. We see Chief the Foundry. Oh yeah, Magic Origins All-Star Uncommon, right? Along with another one, Whirler Rogue, both being 4-ofs, as well as 4 of Phyrexian Revoker. Woo!
Which that was another difference between the other the Hot Sauce Games list. They only played like one Revoker in their main.
Man, that card is so good against Green Devotion.
It was doing so much work this weekend.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 4 Hangerback Walker, 4 Ornithopter, 1 Collateral Damage, 4 Shrapnel Blasts, and 3 Stubborn Denial, which I have to imagine was probably pretty sweet. More than a few times during the tournament.
Yeah, his list was like a couple cards off of some of the other lists that team was running. I think most of the other guys were just running 4 Stubborn Denial, 4 Shrapnel Blast, no Collateral Damage. But Collateral Damage is pretty cool with Hangerback Walker.
Yeah, I think you just wanted that extra card to just make sure that got to interact the way you wanted it to.
Yeah. Yep.
And now we have 4 Ghostfire Blades. So this is the the colorless creature payoff card that you have here. And if you have any of like the if you open this during the Ugin's Fate Fates Reforged pre-release, oh buddy, you're probably swimming in some mad bank potentially.
I don't know if it's mad bank.
It's like $8 or something.
I mean, it's an $8 Ghostfire Blade. I think that's fine.
$2 or whatever.
Yeah, but more than likely they have one. So yeah, it's currently $7.99. The original is still $3. I don't think anybody's Scrooge McDucking it right now.
Yeah, I mean, so Bone Splitter was like a pretty sweet card back in the day, and this is just like a Bone Splitter, but had 2 toughness as well.
Yeah,
in this deck.
In this particular deck, yeah. And then we also see, what you would expect to see: 4 Darksteel Citadel, 4 Insult Artifact, 4 Foundry of the Console,
1 Foundry of the Console.
Oh, excuse me, yeah, 1 Foundry of the Console. Some, lands, basically. But
how about only 17 lands?
It has 4 Darksteel Citadels.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I saw that and I freaked out, and then I was like, wait, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, wait, what? And then they put Darksteel Citadel under Artifact.
Well, it
totally
is wrong.
Technically not wrong.
So it's running the same amount of lands as the mono red deck.
Yes.
So
in the sideboard, we see some counter magic, 4 roasts, and then 3 Thopter Spy Network, which I had to pass in a 2-hit giant draft, and I was very salty about it.
You're just wrong.
Yeah, that was
very salty.
I also like the Seismic Ruptures, which can the first if you draw more than the first one can kill your Hangerback Walker, and then the second one doesn't do anything else to your Ornithopters. I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the thought where Spynac works. It's just a way for if you do get in those grindy games against Abzan decks, you can just like play that. Basically, you play that, probably attack with something and draw a card immediately, and then it's just going to sit there and just gain you value for the whole rest of the game. Even if they languish your board or whatever, it's going to give you that inevitability. So I'd say even though mono red was probably the best deck at the Pro Tour. I mean, this was probably a 1B. You know what I mean? Like this is pretty much up there. And if you look at a lot of the top finishing standard list, even the people that didn't top 8, there were a ton of these lists. There were a lot of mono red and a lot of blue red artifacts. So these are the 2 decks that you're going to have to be prepared for going forward in standard. Now there were some other sweet lists, but these 2 were the breakouts for sure.
I definitely feel like the mono red list is just going to be good. Like it's definitely going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good until the end of the format, and even after the end of the format. Like it still gets to keep a lot of its current tools as it moves
for
forward.
sure.
Yeah, I mean that's what we said. Like after we saw, I mean, I think we all underestimated Abbott of Carol Keep. I'm pretty sure when we were talking about it on the Palooza episode, we were just like, oh, it's like a thing. Sometimes you can hit a card, or whatever. But it's a lot better than what it looks. I think it was deceptively good.
Talking about the Pat Chapin highest of highs, lowest of lows. Said Jace is unplayable, but also says Abbott of Carol Keep is the best card in the set. Well,
This set was like it was especially hard to evaluate
for sure.
But-
I do think though the Insul Artifact deck is definitely good, it's definitely synergistic, and people have been trying to play it, but it does feel definitely like a metagame deck to me. I would definitely want to see how it plays out against Burn consistently, because it definitely seems like it has to have an Insul Artifact, or probably just can't win that matchup. I have to have either Seismic Rupture in my hand or Insul Artifact in attacking to be able to win the game.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably a little bit more resilient than what you're giving it credit for. I know, I believe it was Eric Froelich was talking about, because this is what he played at the Pro Tour as well. Him and Seagrass were on the same team, and he said, they would throw a bunch of hate cards up against it just to see how it would do, or if it could still live. And he's just like, yeah, I was just beating the hate cards anyway. It's just so. As we saw in the finals, unfortunately, it can mulligan a lot, because
Badly.
sometimes you get hands that just don't do anything. You might get Springleaf Drum, Ornithopter, Revoker, and
It's
lands.
sort of the Modern Affinity struggle, because that deck can do that too, where it's like I just put my whole hand on the table, but I'm attacking for nothing.
But when it comes together, when you do get that right hand, it's just unbeatable.
Right.
It's just so.
I think it's interesting. I think the really cool thing about this deck isn't even this deck, is that it is. I think this might make Culligan's command really good in standard all of a sudden. Man, how do you beat this deck? You just 2-for-1 them like you do Affinity. So that's pretty sweet. That being said, I agree with you. Probably there isn't a robust hate card. They did a deck tech on the deck you told me about earlier. The Bogamus.
The green white.
The Constellation deck, which I had to play against. It said in regionals, the Frontier Sieges, and they did a whole write up about it on the website, and they said well, if you want to have fun, but you said, but sometimes people just decide they're going to play Back to Nature, they're like, and then you can't win the game. They literally said you cannot beat this card, right? So that deck has that drawback. This one doesn't have that drawback.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that. There's no card that's just a catch all. There's cards that are good against it, and you're right. Its nut draws are probably the nuttiest thing in the format.
Yeah, I mean, Culligan's command obviously very good against this, but what deck would even play that right now? Playing some kind of Mardu.
I sent a John list to Jordan that did well at the Pro Tour. So
Hey, I think you might see an uptick in Smash the Smithereens, because that card's legal in standard right now.
Oh God, yeah, the red decks take that one, right?
Yeah, it's already a close match, and none of these red decks had Smash the Smithereens. So I think you see people start adjusting. You might see red to be even better going forward. So we'll see.
And Soul Artifact from Ornithopter in response, smash the Smithereens, extend the hand.
It doesn't even have to be in response or attack. Oh, whatever, Smash the Smithereens. Or if you get the next turn, yeah, I don't know. Seems really good.
I'm definitely interested to see where this will go. So it was fun to watch it play though. Like I said, when this deck was going off, you're just you're excited. You're do Shrapnel. What? Oh, cool. Next game, shuffling up. Let's go show another match, because this one's back to shuffling.
Good times. Next up, we have Green Red Devotion. This isn't necessarily anything that you wouldn't expect to see in these sort of lists that we haven't seen from the Open Series. In all honesty, is there anything that we want to point out from Paul Jackson's list that?
I will say that the inclusions of the 3 Nylea's disciples, I think a lot of the lists I've seen recently, especially the last few weeks in the opens, have sort of skimped on this card a little bit. Like,
They won't be anymore.
no, like they've gotten away with not having to play this effect. And like now I think it's like he had 3, and I guarantee he looked at the top 8 and went, "Why didn't I register 4?"
Yeah, well, he probably sat down around 1 and was like, "Oh," just looking around, seeing all the red decks. Oh,
round 9 of regionals, I got the Hushwing Griff, one of those as well.
Woo!
Oh man, he was like, I already had the Hushwing Griffin playing. He's like, all right, cast this, I'll gain 5, and I was like, no. And it's just like, all right. It's like, yeah. I'm telling you, Hushwing Griff is cool for everything. You can fold it up, put it in your wallet.
Trust me.
Take it with you.
I'm a fan. I've played that card many a time.
Put Hushwing Griff in a pot. Got a stew going.
Got stew going.
But beyond that, no. This is pretty stock.
Okay.
And it was looking at the day 2 standard meta game. Grid or Devotion still was the highest percentage deck.
it was.
So old reliable.
I would not expect that moving forward.
No, I mean, I don't think I want to like. I don't think I want to play this deck with this that like if you could sit down and could literally be playing against like mono red, which is really bad, or then playing against like the artifact deck, which is also really bad, and then like even Rally has a really good game against it. So just I feel like if you have that many bad matchups, maybe it's time to move away from this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give it the ghost, man.
Yeah, I think more than more than some other recent Pro Tours have shaken up the format. I think this is probably going to have the most, just the biggest effect on the metagame. I feel like these aggressive decks are just going to push out some of the decks we really thought. Abzan was played, and there were a couple that top hated, but they have a pretty bad matchup against the red decks, and especially if you're on the draw, like you're gonna have to get lucky to win that. So that's Abzan control, probably not a great choice going forward. I mean, it's always going to be fine. It's but now there's something that really punishes it.
Interestingly enough, Matt Sperling, who top aided his last Pro Tour playing the burn deck, top aids
Right.
this one playing
As
Abzan
a
control
Right.
against all the burn decks.
Yeah.
Against all the
And
burn decks.
again, this kind of, when we take a look at it, looks pretty stock. Nothing too earth shadowing.
Sergeant
Shattering.
Phillips mentioned the return of Fleeceway lines for him though, as sort of the mirror breaker once again, because everyone was making not playing anything like that because of languishes, but then because your deck is built with languish in mind, you have to board the languishes out in the mirror because they're so bad, and then that's when you board in your lions, and they don't have languish anymore, and they don't know what to do. So
No.
definitely you could see him coming up with this and having this idea of sort of like that tiered leveled gotcha, I gotcha again.
Yeah, this list has Patrick Chapin's fingerprints all over it. And they were on the same team, and they were both on Team Ultra Pro, and a majority of their team did play the mono red deck. But Sperling and Chapin chose to play Abzan. Chapin didn't do so well. I don't know if it was his limited record or whatever. But Sperling definitely gave all the credit to Patrick Chapin for helping him. He was just I'm just going to listen to Patrick Chapin because he knows what he's talking about with Abzan. So yeah, I mean the Fleecemate lines were also something that came in against mono red to give you just more early drops and things like that. But yeah, I mean there's nothing too crazy going on here. This is no Deathmist Raptors, playing 3 Nissa Basswood Seers, so it's pretty close to what we've seen pretty much since Magic Origins came out. Nothing
sure.
too crazy.
For sure.
The one for Rika's Cure was pretty awesome for him in the top.
Yeah, I bet. It seems like a good place for it.
Yeah, and his matchup against Patrick Cox in the quarterfinals, he was able to, in response to an Exquisite Firecraft, Rika's Cure something to go up to 5, then went to 1, and then ended up winning the game.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It was insane.
We also have Abzan Megamorph showing up, piloted by Kentaro Yamamoto. Again, we've kind of seen these lists before, very similar to Abzan Control, just with Deathmist Raptor.
I will say the NFNs in the sideboard are probably the tech, and that's something you saw at regionals as well. How do these decks make sure they don't lose to the rally deck? Make sure your entire graveyard is exiled. So at least all the relevant creatures.
The rally deck was so bad for this tournament.
Yeah,
and I think that was probably to be expected after it won the Star City Open last week, just because. I mean, I think it was on most people's radars anyway, but it's okay, this might have been a little bit better than we thought. Let's just, it's a little bit extra incentive to play things like Mono Red, because that deck really cannot beat Mono Red.
Yeah.
Blue Red Artifacts just smashed it. It was not close.
Hustringer also beats it. But
Yeah.
I know I said last week that I wasn't a big fan of the deck, but I did feel like the Pro Tour, if there's anybody who's going to try and break it, and it looks like there was a couple teams that played it, but they didn't do much changing to it. Like so it looked like instead of trying to break it, they just want to be like all the pros were like, I don't want to play this deck. I just want to make sure I don't lose to it. So
Yeah.
and again, like once you decide that you don't want to lose that deck, you're not going to.
I think it was pretty comical. In retrospect, like if you watched Michael Jacobs stream before, like the week leading up to the Pro Tour, and he finally started testing standard decks, and that was one of the decks he was working on was the rally deck, or like 4-color rally, and like multiple people in the chat would be like, "Oh, well, what do you do against mono red?" He's like, "Well, you can't beat everything." So if I lose to mono red, then I lose to mono red. It's like, well, that was probably the one deck you didn't want to lose to this weekend.
I mean, I guess we should always know that if Michael Jacob decides that a deck is good, it's probably not. he hates every deck that does well, and then when he does decide to like one, no.
Yeah, he did not do very well, unfortunately for him. I wanted to see him do well because I would like to see him back on the train, but he'll have to try to requalify again. But but going back to Yamamoto here, I mean he pretty much dominated the tournament up until the top 8. He was the number 1 seed going into it. Like I said, he was 10-0 before he finally lost, so he was just running through people pretty easily.
I also want to point out, like, he's definitely played a deck that like died to Languish and still played Languish. So like when you talk about this, like you know that he had to be playing super tight for like this list had to be played perfectly to have gotten here, because I definitely don't feel like the deck was, one, well positioned in the metagame, and two, like I said, he has some weaknesses even in his list. But again, knowing how to play it and knowing how to pilot the deck, definitely a master for this one.
Yeah, for sure. So we have Steven Neal's red aggro, which, like we said, the main differences between him and Larson's deck, he has 2 Chandra Fire Kaladesh, he has a Goblin Heel Cutter in the main, he's got a few less Lightning Berserkers. And I know actually a lot of the Ultra Pro Team Ultra Pro people had the Molten Vortex in the board, which I was like kind of surprised about. I was just like, really? Because I was hating on that card really hard.
Yeah, you were.
I mean, I guess in the mirror, like if you drop it, then like
that's the idea.
I don't care if I hit land drop 4, so every time I draw a land, it's still a spell against your creatures. So I guess that's a thing.
That's the idea, though. I did see it in play multiple times and really didn't do a whole lot.
No, I still don't think it's worth the card. Like they obviously only played once. They weren't in love with it, but I don't feel like it's probably worth it. I would cut it going forward, but.
Yeah. Then we got Patrick Cox coming here. Also, one of the cards that Team Ultra Pro played was 1 Goblin Glory Chaser. He was getting in there.
He was chasing that glory.
Team mascot.
Yeah. And then there was definitely a match. It was, I believe it was Sam Black against Jerry Thompson. Jerry Thompson was playing Green Red Devotion, and he was actually in contention for quite a bit. He lost, I believe, the last couple of rounds, but I believe he did requalify. He went 11-5.
Yeah, he did.
So he was able to qualify for the next Pro Tour, which is pretty cool. But Sam Black definitely like attacked into a Sylvan Caryatid, Titan Strength the guy, and then like for the rest of the match it was just like, oh man, like I don't know if he has that Titan Strength, but he only had the 1 in his whole list. It's just like he was able to put the fear in him. So it was pretty interesting.
They also played 1 less land, which is woof.
Yeah. Yep. And then last we have Stefan Barrios playing his Blue Red and Soul. This was kind of the version that had a little bit more red. He's playing just 2 Whirler Rogues and 3 PN Karen Nalar. This is a little bit of a higher top end. He's got an extra land. He actually has 1 less land, which is most surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these lists and like he has 5 4 drops, but but he has Springleaf Drum. Can do a lot of work as well. So.
Yeah. Also, his team had Tomb of the Spirit Dragon in the sideboard, which is the Gain of Life.
That's
card
what I was hearing
work.
about.
It was doing work on camera.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. That was like, I did not expect to ever see that card do anything, but pretty cool.
Again, when you're playing a bunch of colorless creatures, why not?
Sure.
Sign me up. I want to gain some life. I'm down. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are a ton of even standard decks to go through. let's take a look here real quick at the day two metagame breakdown. We already kind of spoiled a little bit of letting you know what was like the most played deck. So the most represented deck in day two was Green Red Devotion, followed by Mono Red Aggro, and then Abzan Control. Fourth came in as being Blue Red and Soul Artifact, then Blue Black Control, Abzan Rally, Jeskai, Sultai Control, Abzan Aggro, Atarka Red, Goblins.
Yeah, there were a few Goblin decks on camera.
Jeskai tokens, Blue White Heroic, then 4-color Rally, Mardu Dragons, Green White Constellation, and 26 other decks.
Yeah.
I mean, good.
I was just gonna say, I think it's interesting to note. We see Green Red Devotion as being like the most played on day two, but really, if you look at the top finishing decks or the top standard decks, even if they didn't top 8, there weren't a whole lot of them with the winning records.
No.
Or like better records, but you see just a ton of. There might not have been as many blue red artifacts, but if you look at like the successful lists, like there were a ton of them. Now that's also part of it being like, one of the best teams there with multiple platinum pros were all playing it. I'm sure that has something to do with it as well. But
yeah,
that was probably overall percentage-wise, probably the best deck, with Mono Red being pretty close as well.
Yeah, and they even have like conversion rates, which are pretty interesting. The deck with the second highest conversion rate, Abzan Aggro. 7 out of the 9 people that played it
was 7 of 9?
Yeah. And then Blue, Red, and Soul Artifact had the best conversion rate, 28 out of 33 people day 2 while playing that archetype. So I think that's fairly interesting.
Yeah, I definitely thought like you should definitely we talked about like what other decks to highlight here, but there weren't tons of like super exciting lists to me in those other ones. But I do want to point out Control definitely had a bad showing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't see Thopter Control pretty much anywhere. And like Blue Black Control had a high metagame rate, but just like there's almost no Blue Black Control in those top performing lists. There's an Esper Dragons list that did really well, just one. And then, I think there's a couple Sultai lists that did okay. But you can definitely see, we talked before, the weaknesses, especially in these slower control decks, is one, they lean heavily on, their spot removal, but, they're playing less Bile Blights because of the way the format has moved. And those decks have always been susceptible to just dying to a Satyr Wayfinder. Now you just have 1/1 Thopters hanging around. So, you have to kill a Hangerback Walker and make sure you have, and you're just not dead to the tokens and their clock. So that's important. And two, something I think that we're not talking about too much here, but a lot of those decks fall back on what's your end game at the end? What is your catch-all? It's Ugin.
Oh.
And Ugin does not kill these things. Ugin's a great card, but it does not kill a Hangerback Walker, and it doesn't kill its friends.
Colorless things, you're my friends. I don't kill you. Oh, I'm dead.
It's all right, what can I draw to get out of this? I need a Wrath effect. All right, draw for turn. Ugin. Oh, that actually doesn't do it.
It's not going to be like when I top decked it.
No,
wiped out my old opponent.
And I think it's important, when so many, if you look even the Abzan, Sperling's list is playing an Ugin at the top end. So the Sultai decks all have an Ugin at the top end. The Esper Dragons deck, Ugin may not be as good in the short term here.
He's probably not going to be good in the long term either, considering we have Eldrazi's in the next set.
A fair point. Though most Eldrazi's cost more than 7 anyways, so I don't know if... so I don't know if
it might be a tough road for Ugin.
But I do think it's. Ugin was great for me this weekend. Let me point that out. But I think it's interesting to see that's Control's top end finisher, and it actually may just not be good enough anymore. So Control, I like to see how Control reacts to this, because beating Mono Red and beating the Artifact deck require dissimilar answers. So it's important to see what goes on with this.
Let's talk about Kibler's list.
Yeah, and I was gonna say there's one list though. He did 9-1 in standard.
Yeah, 9-1 standard. Probably pretty bad in limited since he wasn't close to the top tables.
1-5 limited. I think he went 10-6.
That's unfortunate. So he's playing green white aggro. He's got main deck 2 Ajani Mentor of Heroes. He's got 4 Elvish Mystic, 2 Warden of the First Tree, 4 Fleeceman Lion, 4 Den Protector, 2 Hidden Dragon Slayer, 4 Deathmist Raptor, 3 Boon Satyr, 2 Courser of Krufix, 3 Nissa Vastwood Seer, 3 Valish Stance, 3 Jamoka's Command. 24 lands of various green and white variety. Sideboard is pretty interesting to me, actually. He's got 1 Valor Stance, 2 Evolutionary Leap, 3 Unravel the Aether, which is a sweet card against the blue-red artifacts deck. So going forward, if you want to beat that, that's a good place to start. And I'm sure, I'm not sure what team was he on. Was he just on the regular? Was he on the Channel Fireball?
No, I'm trying. He worked with someone specifically, and I can't remember because it wasn't who he normally works with. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, because if he knew about the deck, then it would make sense that he would have Unravel the Aether, because a lot of these other decks did not have that card. But in any case, he had 1 Glare of Heresy, 4 Hangleback Walkers in the sideboard, 2 Tragic Arrogance, and Mike's boy 2 Hushwing Griff.
Ding.
So this list is very Kibler-esque, and he likes his green cards. But I think it's hard to say. Like, I would imagine this is pretty decent against mono red, and like it seems like it'd be pretty good against the artifact deck. So maybe this is the way to go, at least in the short term.
Command is definitely really good against the red decks. Like if you get to ever
Yeah.
like prevent the damage from a spell and fight a guy, or like sack your Eidolon, fight a guy,
yeah.
like it's hard to come back from that.
Yes. For sure.
I do want to point out the insane synergy between Hangerback Walker in the board and a Johnny Mentor of Heroes in the main.
Yeah.
Like, do.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Oh man, but I think a Johnny was really cool because so many, like, there's a couple of his creatures here, like Warden of the First Tree can outgrow, because like this deck screams Languish to me, like Die to Languish, right? But if you look at it, like Warden of the First Tree can outgrow Languish, and then Death Raptor comes back off of Den Protectors and Hidden Dragon Slayers. Plus you have a Johnny to grow him out of Languish. Like this deck is actually really resilient.
You could even like surprise like Boon Satyr to like save a guy. It's just like,
Like they tap out for they tap low for Languish, you Boon Satyr guy, and like, oh, I'm gonna tap and smack you for at least 7 or 8. So, I think definitely like that's you look at this deck and it definitely seems like it would be subtle, like, oh, okay, well, I just want to Wrath this deck. You do want to Wrath this deck, but you might just be dead. So it's
also
interesting.
pretty awesome interaction. Evolutionary Leap with Hangerback Walker.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, this deck's sweet. I'd play it.
And like you see Tragic Arrogance, like I definitely we never even talked about this card. Like it's a card we just didn't talk about, I think, on the review show.
Yeah, I actually originally misread it. That like I didn't know that you got to choose which permanents.
You
so
picked.
after playing with it at the PPTQ, I was like, oh, this card is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it keeps showing up in sideboards like this. Like I mean, I don't know how I feel about the card in general, but I don't want it cast against me, like ever. Like that just sounds terrible.
It's obviously has a little bit more synergy with more creature-based decks, since you get to you can choose when to pull the trigger on it, and really maybe you lose in like one guy or something like that. But it's kind of hard for people to play around, like, and you don't really expect it to come out of a creature deck. It's not like Wrath of God. Like you're not really going to play Wrath of God type effect in a creature deck. But this is something where you get to keep around like a big guy, or maybe you Boon Satyr something up, end a turn, and then you do Tragic Arrogance.
Yeah, and like I'm looking at this, like I'm sorry, Morgan.
I was gonna say, I mean, the interesting thing is you can play Boon Satyr and choose it as your enchantment to keep, and then keep a creature and an enchantment, which is Boon Satyr. And then if you have a Hangerback Walker, you can just keep that as your artifact. You just have 3 creatures, and they have 1.
Yeah, and I think it's also important, like even if, like the way the boards work out right now, because the way, unless I'm wrong here, but like choose like an artifact creature, right? So like, can you choose the same thing for different cards?
Yes.
Like that's what I thought. So cool Courser, I'll choose that as your creature, choose that as your enchantment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like sack your board. So like I think that's this card definitely is subtly powerful. So I don't know, maybe it makes main deck play, it possibly could, but again, like I would definitely like be like playing. You talk about Devotion, like this card also seems pretty good against them as well. So
Yeah, it's something that a lot of the Abzan decks have been playing. So definitely be aware of it if you're playing against some control-ish type deck.
Yeah,
with
don't
white.
be too
Apparently-
arrogant.
Apparently,
It could lead to your tragic demise. Of your friends, actually, not you. You'll be fine.
yeah, you threw the spear and everything will die.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
something like that. All right.
Cool. But yeah, we do encourage you to check out some of the lists. This is the most exciting thing that comes out of the Pro Tour, so you get to see the best performing standard list. Because, the top 8 doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. There is a limited portion which helps people get to the top 8. So look at these lists and, kind of go from there.
Yeah, speaking of limited portion, that's definitely like the part that I'm like least excited to watch, but I'll still watch it. And I like I said last week, I really like this limited format, and they definitely had who was it? Yuya Watanabe as like the featured drafter in day one. He definitely just drafted like the sickest red black sacrifice deck. I was like, oh, what could have been.
And then he lost.
He did lose. He had like four. He had 4 enthralling victors and like
So
3.
maybe it's just a trap. Maybe that's all it is.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like that's how this format works, though, because they showed Huey Jensen as the backup draft after that, and his deck looked disgusting too, and he couldn't like win. So it's interesting to see like how they pegged the format and how the different drafts came together. I thought it was cool. I like this format as well. So
Yeah, after playing it all weekend, like we're recording on a Monday instead of Tuesday, and there's usually a Monday draft that I go to, and I'm kind of sad that I'm
sorry, man.
I'm not gonna go into that draft
Sorry.
because I drafted all weekend. Still want to draft more.
We got to give the people sweet Pro Tour breakdowns
No, I don't disagree.
early and often.
Yep.
early and often.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But are we all good with moving on to the wrap up here? Get everything tidied up, tighten a little bit. I mean, so the World Magic Cup National Champions, we're all fixed up. We talked a lot about that
Yeah,
last week.
I kind of feel like we should revisit that when we get to those events.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think we should at least talk about the World Championship competitors because we did talk about that last week about like who had slots on the line.
okay.
Real quick, we did mention Mike Striegers won Player of the Year,
Yep.
and Justin Cohen, as we thought, won Rookie of the Year. He didn't get overtaken by anybody. But yeah, our World Championship is set, and that is actually later this month, so that's coming up quick.
Yeah, I
Now-
guess that's true.
This tournament was the end of the Magic year, as it were, so that was basically the last tournament.
Yeah, tax forms
before.
are due next week, etc.
But yeah, I mean, we have our field for the World Championships. I don't mean to run down this real quick here.
Sure.
All right, so this is our roster for the World Championships. We have Shahar Shenhar, Ari Lax, and my thing's going really slow.
Martin Mueller, Antonio Del Moral Leon, Martin Dang, Magnus Lanto, Alexander Hain, Joel Larson, Mike Segrist, Eric Froelich, Samuel Black, Brad Nelson, Andre Stratsky, Li Shitian, Yuyo Watanabe, Kentaro Yamamoto, Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa, Thiago Saporito, Seth Manfield, Paul Rietzel, Sean McLaren, Steve Rubin, Owen Turntwald, and Jacob Wilson.
So I like how they did all these pictures on the site, like they cast them all in black. Some of them decided to smile, but the ones that didn't, like I'm looking at like Brad Nelson. He looks like the inside of like an indie like album, like Brad Nelson currently lives in Seattle, and you can hear his music at Starbucks number 27 every Tuesday night.
Eric Froelich, he looks like the human personification of Garfield.
Aww.
And he hates Mondays in that picture.
He looks like he's out for vengeance. He's like,
he
you took
looks
my
very
Player of the
intense.
Year.
Like
You
Paul-
took my lasagna.
Look at Paul Rietzel. Paul Rietzel has like the headshot sort of look as well. Like you can hear Paul Rietzel's beat poetry every Thursday. Like I don't know. I get what they did it for to try and make it look dramatic, but like some of the the smiles are okay. You know what I mean? Like I guess I'm criticizing these people. Like I'm not really criticizing. You guys are all awesome and you're playing there, and I want to play there. But some of
Have a
these
little
pictures,
fun. We all take terrible pictures.
like Martin Muller's picture, like, and then if you click on them, you get like this like white highlight on the bottom, and it looks. These are weird pictures. Wizards, take better pictures.
I could see him being like a really, really nice like realtor.
Oh,
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh man, Mike
I'd-
Seegers totally would sell me a house. Like,
Yeah, for sure. Like I would totally be confident purchasing homes from him.
that's exactly what these are.
So
Oh man, I'm gotta page Mr. Photoshop. I could do a Remax ad.
Oh man, he had Mr. Photoshop had some nice ones.
Oh man,
With
the
Sega
onion
Did-
one. Did you see that one?
The onion, yeah.
So,
It was
yeah.
something about Mulligan Rule leads
Yeah.
to more interactive games than he mulliganed to 3 in Game 5 of the finals.
So yeah, that's really exciting, and I totally slipped my mind that does happen at the close of this month. So always a very exciting tournament to watch. Some of the best players you can have playing Magic at a pretty competitive level with a lot on the line, and then Shahar Shenhar wins, right?
Yeah, that's
why-
usually when he decides, like, all right, guys, I mean business now.
Well,
so.
it looks like it's this time of
Cool.
year again.
He was in contention for top 8 for this Pro Tour, though. He played against Seagrass in round 15.
It's
he would have
just
been,
like
yeah.
NBA Jam. You got to warm up
He was playing
where
Jets
you're
guy
on
as well.
fire.
Yeah, he was
I
playing.
think he was probably the highest performing on Jets guys, but like his list was pretty strong.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Pro Tour. Another one in the books, a pretty exciting one, a pretty fun one. I'm sorry that it happened the same time the GenCon was happening, so I didn't get to watch it, which was kind of disappointing. But I kept up on Twitter and watched caught the highlights here and there. Saw things were blowing up and becoming really expensive, and got to see that happen in real time at GenCon. So that was kind of fun. But let's stop talking about this past weekend and focus on this upcoming one. So we have, Comic Town is running both draft and standard window boxes at F&M. So definitely check them out this week. It's something they typically do all month long, but we'll have a rain check on that and see if that is the case. So check them out there. You can look at their page at Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook just to confirm.
Also, if you're hitting up F&M, this is the start of Serum Visions month.
Correct, Serum
Your
Visions
F&M
month.
promo. So
You can win a box and an F&M promo, Serum Visions.
yeah. So if you're not going to Comic Town, just go to your local shop and win some Serum Visions.
Yeah, go for it.
It'll be worth a lot.
Also this weekend we have GP San Diego, which is standard, GP Hong Kong, which is Magic Origins Limited, and then SCG DC, which is Legacy for the main event. So plenty of Magic to watch over the weekend, or check in on over the weekend. And
It's also game day.
it is game day. You can get your full art languishes, man, which I know that Mike needs.
I need one for the battle box.
So
So,
spicy.
I might need one too from my battle box.
jeez, such a copycat.
Yeah, I know. I'm not an original person. I don't know what gave you this idea.
I had mine first. So
You didn't have a battle box first. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I did.
No,
yeah, it is.
no.
We can fight
I
about
don't have
this.
one anymore, so whatever.
Yeah, I don't see any proof. It's in
Yeah.
the pudding.
We can fight about this later.
So we should point out that so Morgan and I are going on vacation next week.
yeah.
So we will be skipping. But this is also
I'm on vacation too.
oh, that's right, you
I'm
are.
not
I
just
forgot.
going to be left behind. I'm also going on vacation. I'm just not going with you guys.
Thank God. But so this is episode 99,
This is episode 99.
and then we come back, be episode 100. So we've got some cool things worked up for the show in general. Like I don't
Yeah.
know for that episode specifically, we still got some stuff, but like pretty big stuff coming at least as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to be. I'm actually going to Massachusetts for my vacation, visit some family, and might try to
plead his case.
might try to network with a few people and maybe get some guests on.
Cool. Do that.
So
Go for it.
We might have some facelifts. I always say facelifts.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
As they say in the South, pardon our progress while we get some potentially exciting changes up in here. So, but of course you can always follow us on Twitter. We are at YourEndStep, and you can find us on Facebook. Just look for at YourEndStep, like our page, follow our posts. You'll know when the show goes up when I post it. Same thing goes for Twitter. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes. Get the podcast, right to your phone, tablet, whatever you want, laptop. I don't know, anything. Toasters these days, I'm sure.
That's what I do.
Just download it to your
That's right.
toaster.
I'll admit it. I download it straight to my toaster.
That's perfect. It's wonderful. It's a great time to be alive.
Like when it pops out, it just has like the logo right on the.
That
on
would
the
be
bread.
amazing. Can we
Yeah.
invent that? Don't I have to edit this out now because you had the most amazing idea.
At your toe step.
So yeah, that's everything for this week. We won't catch you guys next week, but the week after that. But until then, have a wonderful one. Bye.
Keep it 100.